Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Today we've got a particularly exciting and definitely not very well slept one, because Classic came out last night at 11 PM BST, and it was quite the event. I stayed up all night playing it, and there really just is a lot to talk about, both in terms of the game experience and the first impressions there, but also, and I think a little bit more importantly for tracking the broader story of World of Warcraft, well, just how well it did on a meta perspective, looking at things like Twitch numbers and just its overall performance, because
I still can't believe those lumps were me, man. That's ridiculous.
Expectations. First though, let's cover the experience of the launch to fill you in if you weren't there. So, things were getting pretty damn hyped. The servers were beginning to get their queues, you know, rising and rising and rising, but I'd logged in about 2 hours beforehand into the Enter World screen, and I just stayed there. I used Chrome Remote Desktop to keep that client logged in, which, yeah, might be a bit of a dirty tactic.
That's smart, dude.
It meant
That's
that
very
as
smart.
soon as it hit 11 PM BST, that Enter World button lit up, I hit the go button, and we were pretty much good to go. Now, it wasn't all smooth sailing. The actual login process did take quite some time indeed. That was pretty much just because the world server was struggling to come up, so we were stuck there at that loading screen. But once I did get in...
Just to let you guys know, guys, relax. The server list is up, but the realms are actually not up. So I'll go ahead and show you what I'm looking at right here, okay? There. See, all realms are down. That's pretty much it. All realms are down. So don't worry, I'm keeping track of it. And as soon as it comes back up, I'll go ahead and do it.
It was exactly what you would expect if you've been on an extremely busy server like, say, Draenor EU on a launch day. Everyone spawned in my case, in the Valley of Honor, spawned in on top of each other. You couldn't move, and it was a little bit messy. Slowly, though, you would gain the ability to move, and then you would just see you and all of the other many
servers never crashed at the beginning.
The place with them, sort of, you know,
well, besides
teleporting
for the
about
time
in
that
terms
they
of how
did.
you could see them.
Besides that,
picking up a quest, well, that was no easy feat.
It's better than I thought it would
maybe
go.
10 to 20 seconds, and overall, it was a pretty janky experience. My experience of going around the Valley of Honor was quite funny. The entire place was just absolutely packed with people, and you've got to remember this too. That was just my layer, because Blizzard are, of course, using layering. There are multiple instances of each, each server sort of layered on top of each other, and that's one of the things they're using for population control on Classic, and even with that, it felt extremely populated. So that was pretty much the experience, and bear in mind, I'm playing on Shazrath EU. That basically, I suspect that might be the most populous WoW Classic server that exists.
So... What I said like last time, I asked people if that was actually true. Apparently that server had 50 or I think it was 50 or 100,000 person queue. Like meanwhile our dead server only has a 20,000 person queue. So I guess EU's got a lot more time to play Classic.
I actually saw a report of a 100k queue there. I haven't seen that verified anywhere else, and I do know that it's hit, I think, 25k in terms of its queue size, which is pretty darn insane. So, that was the initial experience of the launch of actually hopping in. Before I talk about the gameplay relating topics here, and actually the experience of playing WoW Classic itself, I want to talk about WoW Classic, the story, and I mean story, you know, as an industry story. What's actually been, you know, going on with it, what that means for the industry, what it means for World of Warcraft, because on that front, it's been, well, pretty colossal. Now, one of our best gauges of interest is Twitch.tv numbers. If something is a big cultural event, then that generally will be reflected quite well on Twitch.
Really?
And that's where we saw World of Warcraft
one
of, well, basically get one of the highest peaks for a game ever. Now, there are some games like Fortnite that have went past it, but World of Warcraft absolutely is up there. And even in the top channels, you know, we were looking through it, I think, for the last month. Every single channel was a brand until you hit, like, I think number 12. Who is number 12? Asmongold, with 286,000 simultaneous viewers. And with World of Warcraft getting 1.1 million.
Holy shit, that's the last 30 days? Holy shit. God damn, man. God fucking damn. Oh my god.
Million viewers. Now, here's the deal. In Battle for Azeroth, World of Warcraft peaked at like 580k.
Jesus
for Legion,
Christ.
Streaming for World of Warcraft was a good bit smaller. It peaked at about 280k. Now, of course, you know, Legion was better than BFA. It's not like Twitch peak numbers indicates the quality of an expansion or something like that, but it certainly is a gauge of interest that I think is pretty darn relevant. I think especially in comparing BFA to Classic, because they are in a sort of similar time period with a...
Okay, we'll watch this video later on. Actually on the way over to SM, I guess. So do we want to just go do SM, guys? This is O'Connell. That's fine. Do we want to do SM?
I'm Rhett.
I'm down for whatever. I just ran over here. I have to shower, so I'm just gonna go AFK shower and then I'll come back.
Okay. All right, McConnell. Do you want to go ahead and do SM?
I'm Rhett.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll just try to do it. We'll try and get it done as fast as we can. I mean, SM Graveyard, we're going to be locked to the amount of instances per hour anyway. It's not going to be a big deal, okay?
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah, we're going to have to do it, okay? Okay, I'm a balancer. Can I go? Alright, so I'm just going to watch the video until we head over there, okay, guys? Give me a second. Okay, I saw you plank at the boss. Yeah, I know. We fucked up. I can't believe as I said, I really don't play well under pressure. If I have any sort of like anything that pressures me at all, I just completely lose my mind. Okay, so we'll watch the rest of this first. Okay, 1 second here. And that'll be good.
Very similar Twitch ecosystem, and I think that's especially the case because we're just off the back of the Eternal Palace. Now, what's really different about WoW Classic, I think what's blinding...
What the hell? What the hell just happened? Okay, just a second.
Obvious from just looking at the performance is it has went past the Battle for Azeroth player base. It really has. It has captured so many more people, and when you look at Activision Blizzard's earning calls, pretty much their goal has been to engage the upwards of 100 million World of Warcraft accounts that exist.
Holy shit.
A pretty staggering number of people on this planet have played WoW at some point, and they were essentially running a massive awareness campaign to get people back in. Across gaming news sites all over the world, WoW Classic was actually performing pretty well. You would have tier lists being published by general gaming news websites that normally would not touch World of Warcraft stuff. And
is that actually
really
true?
Just does show you how much Classic managed to expand past that.
Is that actually true? I didn't even know that. Not much marketing though. Yeah, I feel like everybody is marketed Classic WoW except for Blizzard. Blizzard are the only people that are not marketing Classic WoW.
Base Warcraft audience, which really is, you know, you and me, pretty much. It's really getting the people who don't watch videos like the ones that I make, who typically don't watch the, you know, the Twitch streams. It really has blown up to be that larger cultural event.
Everybody fucking knows about it, man.
How is this all translated to people trying to log into servers? Well, we saw averages of about 10,500 in the login queue. We saw peaks of, I think it was like 700 and something minutes.
I feel like if you combined all the servers, and if each server has, everybody's saying that it's taking 15,000 we've got 15,000 people per server. You probably had more concurrent players, probably over 1 million concurrent players, at least like 700,000 concurrent players playing Classic WoW. I think that's about what it would be. Okay.
No, I think I saw 1,000 and something minutes as the login queue estimate, with servers getting up to 27k. Even some of the new servers had login queues.
Is that a lot?
And
yeah, it's a huge amount.
That were added hours before launch. I mean, from my experience, after the initial 40 minutes of gameplay that I outlined at the top of this video, you know, Shazrath booted everybody off. I then was thrown into a 14k queue where I played Battlestar Galactica Deadlock for, 3.5, 4 hours. Well, maybe 3 hours until I actually got back, back in the queue. Overall, what this shows us, though, is that Classic has performed extremely well. And I think it always was going to perform well. I think this is probably exceeding the expectations of most, and certainly exceeding the expectations of Blizzard. I think J. Allen Brack got J. Allen whacked when he did his whole, you think you do, but you don't. And yes, he joked at him.
J. Allen whacked. I mean, okay, look. Yeah, good one, dude. Good one, Bellior. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the comment that he made, it makes sense. A lot of people probably do feel that way. It's just that I think that they kind of underestimated the amount of people that don't. That's all. I don't know. I don't think it was as bad of a comment as everybody makes it out to be. It's crazy. Okay, all right, let's go here.
Saying that, you know, when the Classic was announced, but certainly he's going to eat those words for a very, very long time indeed. People think they did, and as it turned out, yeah, they really did. Now, what we do need to wait and see is how long this persists after launch, and I suppose that's really what takes us into talking about the gameplay experience of WoW Classic. I think I'll round this off by just a little bit more of a broad discussion about the direction of World of Warcraft. So, my gameplay experience was fairly traditional. I decided to go with 0 add-ons or anything like that.
That's right. Exactly.
It was kind of funny and nostalgic.
Yep.
I mean, personally, the largest launch that I ever played was Wrath of the Lich King, and there was actually some direct parallels. You know, I remember trying to kill the NPC in the Borean Tundra mines at the very start of the Alliance.
Shows how touchdown brackets. I don't really think that's entirely true. I mean, like, he could understand. There are a lot of people. Do you think that most people in the WoW player base right now in BFA want Classic more than BFA? Like, most overall people. I'm not talking about the people on Twitch or YouTube, but if you polled every individual that's playing the game. Yes? I mean, it's hard to say. Let me say that. It is very, very hard to say. I don't think it's a simple yes or no.
Questing, and you know, that was the one named NPC. Everyone would go there. The game didn't have shared tapping. You need to group up. So of course, rolling as a troll, I mean, you've got that Scorpid when you're level 4. You've got Zolazane, not Zolazane. You've got the troll guy in the Echo Isles. You've got, you know, so many NPCs like that where you're in that situation where you have to group up with other people, and that really is, it's quite a cool thing. And broadly, what I noticed the most just going through the maybe 5-6 hours of playing, and I mean, I only hit level 9 and a bit, so it was very inefficient. A lot of that was just because, you know, you had a bit of lag.
We were
shitty
too.
A lot of competition for mobs. I lost a lot of time in the Echo Isles. But the one thing that really stood out to me is I grouped up far more. Just like, and this is not me grouping up with my friends or with the Stark guys who I'm going to be playing with. You know, once I, you know, hit up Vanish and get in the guild and all of that stuff. This was just randomers, right? And, you know, this...
You just play with random fucking people. You make friends.
You've got a call.
Like, I probably have known, like, 5 or 6 people that I played with in Classic already, and I remember their names better than the last 100 people that I played with in BFA. Outside of, like, people that I stream, that, like, join my stream groups. Like, very, very easily.
Common goal, you group up, away you go. I probably had more social interactions in the 5 or 6 hours of playing Classic over the night there than I would have had in doing your average Battle for Azeroth content. I mean, even sometimes things like doing a mythic dungeon involve just about 0 communication with another person. It's almost all automated, whereas here, not really like that. Now, a lot of that is you are forced to group up with other people because, well, not forced, but, you know, the game mechanics heavily do, like, want you to do that because of, say, the shared tapping on a named mob, or just completing a quest faster, or their whole...
You should be forced. Like I said this 100 times, they need to force people to do it, because if they don't force people to do it, then they're not going to take it seriously. They won't do it. They have to force people. If they're not forced, then it just won't even matter.
System where I believe you do kind of get more experience whenever you kill mobs with a group. So, like, if I believe the way it works is, like, if a mob was worth 100 experience and you were a group of 2 and you both killed that mob, you get like 60 each, which would total 120. So it's actually faster to play and just to kill things quickly as a group of players. But just because of all of those things,
you don't want to compete for tags.
That really has just meant that, yeah, I've been spending more time with people. I've seen more natural, like, interactions happen. You know, things like, I mean, one of the coolest ones is people actually forming up lines. Now, I don't know, maybe this hasn't been happening in the Horde. I've seen a lot of Alliance screenshots. I think in the Horde we all just grouped up, got in a big pile on top of the, you know, where the mob would spawn, and just mashed like tab and some sort of instant ability to try to get a tag on it. But
we did that too.
You know,
remember in Darkshore we did the exact same thing.
Queue for a rare mob. All those things which just seem to happen far more naturally with how Classic is set up. Now that said, it also is the case that people know that about Classic. They now, they know that now more than ever, that is the more optimal way to play Classic. I think also the more fun way to play Classic, but it certainly is something that, well, is very nice. It's very satisfying, and yeah, I found that to be just one of the really stronger parts of playing Classic. In terms of other aspects, again, just the gameplay of Classic is something I still find to be really very engaging. I've had more memorable, epic gamer.
The gameplay in Classic is very slow. Like, it's very, very slow. It's like, what I hate about it is, like, as a warrior, if I aggro something, I know that I'm gonna die. But I'm not gonna die right now. I'm gonna die, like, 35 seconds from now. And so you just have to either wait it out or try to run away. And if you run away, you're going to die 40 seconds from now because they're going to daze you and they're going to get you. So it's just that it's good, but that's also so fucking frustrating. I'll say that for sure. It's so fucking frustrating.
Moments, just running around killing scorpids like today than I would have doing any world content in Battle for Azeroth. Why is that? Well, it's really simple stuff. I was questing killing harpies with a mage. Was it a mage or a shaman? I think it was a mage. Yeah, it was a mage. And just because of the harpies like spawning in on top of us, we had some really, really tight calls. I'd kill a mob, I'd go loot it, then another one would spawn on top of me, we get caught out by surprise, I'd concussive shot, they, freeze it, and all of that stuff just
we're safe, we're good, guys, we're good.
It's more easy for you to die because you have a more limited toolkit. It just makes, well, basically what it does is it puts a large focus on the minutia of the things that you do with your limited toolkit. And
it's like, it's more strategic and more tactical, you know what I mean? And like, that's what the game doesn't have now. It's like, it's not strategic or tactical at all. It's just, you play, you make mistakes, you just keep going, right? And like, for me, that's kind of good because I'm a fuck up. But overall, I think that doing the right tactics and like executing a pull and it going well, it's very fulfilling in Classic. And I think in BFA, you can maybe get that at a Mythic Plus. But because it's slower, I think that the success and like the fulfillment is more accessible to more people.
And I just think that's really very satisfying indeed. It's fundamentally different to Mists of Pandaria gameplay or Battle for Azeroth gameplay, and I've covered the differences in those, I think it was in yesterday's video actually. But yeah, just that gameplay loop I have found to still be really quite satisfying. Just quests, completing them, it feels more meaningful. And I suppose it's like when I'm playing a lot of the BFA stuff, everything is so smooth and fast and streamlined that you kind of just feel like you're going on a treadmill and maybe you'll get some progress.
Kind of feel like you're going on a treadmill?
Whereas
like you're on one.
This, and look, this is something that could totally wear off. It did feel like I was actually progressing. It was slow, but I was actually progressing, and it made a lot of that content, actually just feel more meaningful to do. Now, that said, there still are some of those frustrating quirks left over, absolutely. Things like, say, the crab people that you need to get the eyes off near Echo Isles and them having a really low drop rate. Yeah, that stuff is kind of a little bit frustrating sometimes. I've been able...
McConnell, you heading over to SM?
Yes, dude.
Just making sure, okay? You don't have to get upset. I'm just asking a question.
We'll deal with it just fine. I can totally see why for a lot of people that would be a massive fundamental turnoff, but it's not been a big issue for me. And really for me, I've just enjoyed going through the zones, grouping up with other people, knocking out content, playing as a team, and just really doing that. It's kind of funny, like, if I'm paired up with a priest, I really feel the difference of being paired up with a priest as a hunter. Same goes for a warrior, same goes as a mage. That's definitely something that's quite satisfying with the differences in the class toolkits so far. And I think it's less the class toolkits, and it's more that you kind of have to use them. Like, I regularly find myself kiting mobs around the place as a natural result of the hunter mechanics when I have no pet. It's not like in BFA where, yeah, I stand there, I've got no dead zone, so I just destroy everything, and I'll pretty much always win. Nope.
I think that all those little limitations that classes had in Classic made it a little bit more... It made you have to, like, play your class more, and because each class had these different limitations, like dead zones and mana restrictions and needing to feed your pet, and like all of this, I mean, let's be honest, all of this bullshit that you had to deal with, it made, I think that This is something really bad. I don't even want to say this. I don't want to say this, but I'm going to say it. I think that the bullshit mechanics the classes had gave them class identity. It's like, in a way, your class identity is what fucking annoys you about this class versus the other one. It's like, oh, I don't have seeds for my druid to cast Rebirth. That's annoying, but it also gives class identity.
Here, I do have a dead zone, and, you know, ideally I want a concussive shot, I want to kite a bit, maybe I could be thinking about stutter stepping with my swing timer, you know, for, like, my bow. So I suppose that's all just came together really just like a treat for me. It's been really good. And then there are some other things which I think are just benefiting from it feeling like a fresh slate. So doing your crafting professions or your gathering professions, yeah, because Classic feels like a little bit more of a sandbox and a fresh slate, that stuff is just inherently quite satisfying. But I suppose that could be said for a lot of the, you know, the BFA stuff with professions as well, whenever you get a profession reset in any expansion. Although that said, I would say that I think the sandboxy elements and just some of the economy of Classic could be more complex and interesting than the BFA stuff. So
if it's sandbox, people actually get something out of it, right? Because like if you're playing in a sandbox, if you make a castle in a sandbox, think about it like this. It's like you made that castle. But if you make a castle, if you go to Toys R Us and you buy a castle, it doesn't feel as good. You know, I don't know, to me, I guess like the idea of being able to make it for yourself and like do things like that and get the fulfillment out of actually completing content yourself rather than having the game create win scenarios for you. If you create your own win scenario, I think that's more fulfilling in general.
I'm actually, one of the things I'm the most interested to do in Classic is play the economy. I think that would be, well, for me anyway.
It's not really for me. I'm not a big economy guy, honestly.
Of playing the game. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts from playing Classic in a realistic environment where it's, you know, my character that I care about, that I will be continuing on. The thing I'd like to just sort of end this on is this has clearly been a massive event. We need to see how, like, you know, how big it will be over time, but look, at like 5 in the morning here, maybe 6 in the morning, and like sure it was launch day, it's a very big day, but there usually would be a large Twitch dip there, and that 1.1 million, like that was a spike, that was not
Of course
sustained.
It's not going to stay at 1.1 million.
That wasn't sustained is, and I mean it was kind of funny to watch, it was like, wow, look at Asmongold go, oh dear, he got disconnected, now he's in a 17,000 queue and he's went to sleep. What's that? Esvand, oh he got disconnected, he's in a massive queue, now he's went to Walmart to get a blow up bed so he can sleep beside his computer. Turns out, you know, I think a lot of the viewership draw people kind of got by just the servers going down and things like that over in the US, which would have hit the Twitch numbers. But then just also the fundamentals, it was still getting like 450k, 550k, 600k. Like, in a not very opportune time for viewership, where you're basically just streaming to Californians, the East Coast people of, or, you know, like,
well, don't forget the Europeans. There's a lot of Europeans there too.
You know, the middle of the Pacific, and
it's like half my viewers.
People, it's super early in the morning. So I'm really going to be interested how this Twitch performance just stays over time, and really to what degree Blizzard will see this and think, huh, right, this was bigger than we thought it would be. And I do wonder if
I would hope that's the case.
When
we would all hope that's the case.
The next expansion, will they be taking inspirations from what they learn here? Less just directly copying things from Classic into the modern game. I think that would be the wrong decision. I don't think that's the way it should be done. Things should be made for the natural game, or for the live game that are.
He's right. It's not like they should make everything in Classic just the same way that it used to be. Sorry, everything in BFA the same way it used to be in Classic. I agree. But they need to use Classic as inspiration, and those are two different things. I agree with them on that.
Are like natural for it, but you know, you can use Classic and what works about Classic as a design inspiration.
Yep.
And I wonder if Classic does do so much better than they assumed it would. If that is the case, you know, if we will see that be reflected in the live game, and if so, I wonder what